Greetings and salutations. This is Vespasian and his trusty sidekick, the small one.
Yay!
Today I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a side project to our Dark Age Viking project. If you haven't been living under a rock, then you will know we are doing Vikings! Ray! Men with beards and quite smelly. Although we're doing Vikings and Saxons at the moment, we're going to spread out and hopefully do the Fatimid Empire and that sort of stuff, so we can fight Vikings against them, and just basically a Dark Age warfare, basically. Spread it out a bit and make it a little bit more fun. This is a sort of side project which is really based in Old English and Viking folklore. The sagas, that sort of thing, but sagas with bells on. Basically, these are draugr.
Oh, zombies.
Zombies, yes. Zombies are interesting things because every single culture on Earth has a word for zombie. In Arabic, zombie is ghoul. In North African, zombie is zombie. In English, zombie is...
Draugr?
No, that's Viking. Viking zombie is draugr. In English, zombie is...
I forgot.
You should know this.
I forgot.
There you go.
You told me like a year ago.
No. Revenant.
Oh yeah, right.
Yes, in English, a zombie is a revenant, which you won't know unless you're English. And in fact, most English people don't know either because they're idiots. But,
Hey.
well, you didn't. So zombies are actually a international thing, same as dragons. The reason every country in the world also has a word for dragon. And in fact, dragons are the only non-alive, non-living creature that appears on the Chinese zodiac, the Chinese calendar. They have all creatures which exist, and then a dragon, which is a fictional character, which is a fictional creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes some strange people on YouTube believe that dragons are real. No, silly people. No, basically, people find bones in the ground, and they go, "Wow, this is huge," and they're dinosaur bones. And guess what? They're dinosaurs. And so how do you explain a dinosaur? Well, it must be a huge monster.
Big scary thing.
Yes. And Lord of the Rings, written by J.R.R. Tolkien, contains dragons, or the Lord of the Rings, not the actual Rings trilogy doesn't have any dragons in it, but the overall Battle of Gondolin and all that sort of stuff has dragons in it. Lord of the Rings lore has dragons in it, because Tolkien was very much into old Saxon and Viking lore and customs, Lore, and the dragons appear a lot in ancient lore. So there you go.
Yay!
Vikings, dragons tended to not fly. They were tended to be a snake-like serpent. The head of all the bad guys in their folklore is Jormungandr, who is a huge serpent, who was tricked by Odin into eating his own tail, so he can never threaten mankind because he's too busy eating himself.
Oh, nice.
Which is funny. Although that is probably a Greco-Roman myth, taken by the Norse. The Ouroboros, the never-ending... the medical side, it shows a snake, a coiled snake eating its own tail, is basically Roman, and it means going on forever, but never mind, who cares. So here we have the draugr, and these guys are to more or less fight against the Vikings we've got.
Or Saxons.
Or Saxons, if you want, yes. Until quite recently, Britain had, well, I'm saying the last few hundred years, Britain had a revenant hunter. He was a guy, it was a political position of the guy who was in charge of killing the undead. And this is real life. We actually had one in Britain who was in charge of hunting down people who did not rest in their graves. What you might call vampires as well.
So he killed no one?
No, he used to go and hunt revenants.
So he killed
and
no
he
one?
used to register how many revenants he'd killed that year. So he was either making it up, or doctors
so he
were...
killed 0,0,0,0,0,0.
No, doctors are very bad at deciding when someone was dead. So the people
Yeah.
would wake up and go, where's my dinner? Who's nicked my boat? And they would go, Revenant, kill him, and hack his head off. So not only did he fail to survive the plague, or he did survive the plague, he was then murdered for being a vampire, or Revenant, or a zombie. So yeah, that's basically it. We did learn after a while, we decided to stick formaldehyde inside humans, so that way it guaranteed you were definitely dead. Which is very nice. I believe George Washington was buried with a pistol. Just in case he woke up in the coffin, he could shoot himself. I think it was George Washington. He was one of the presidents of America.
So the funeral would end as a gunshot would go off.
Yeah, and you'd go, oops, he wasn't dead.
Yes.
Yeah, because he was absolutely terrified of being buried alive.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, yeah. And often coffins are found where the body inside has been moving around. Because they were buried alive. And they woke up buried and they started moving around. And then died, suffocated to death, or ate their own fingers and stuff, and eventually starved to death. And yeah, so it was actually quite common to bury people alive by
It must
accident.
be easy to get out of a coffin though.
Well, no, because you're buried about between 4 and 6 feet underground.
Oh, I thought you just dug a little bit far down.
No, between 4 and 6 feet. It's quite hard to crawl your way up. Although if it's raining, I suppose you could do. There are legends of people doing it, but
Yeah, but
you
if you
have to
do
believe
it, you
it.
suffocate.
Well, you could do, but I'm not arguing over this point at the moment. So, basically, to be quite simple, you have legends of draugr, and draugr in Viking mythology are souls of warriors who died badly. They're basically guys who didn't die a good death, and so don't get to go to Valhalla and get to stay on Earth. And generally, it's understood, if you read some of the more interesting sagas, the guy who becomes a draugr is generally already a person nobody likes. He's already pretty grumpy, and he's not a very nice guy, and people don't like him, and they don't get along with him, and he dies for whatever reason, and then comes back as a grumpy spirit. So he wouldn't have got into Valhalla anyway because he was a bit grumpy.
He's a little bit more than grumpy.
Well, yeah, but that's basically what how the sagas go. You tend to find that you meet old people who are grumpy in real life, like my grandfather, who was a real grumpy person. However, he wasn't grumpy because he was old, because from what I've been able to pick up years past, is that he was grumpy when he was younger. So he's always been grumpy. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're just grumpy. Some people say I'm grumpy, but that's because they've never met me. Well, there you go. So back to draugr. Now, here are the draugr themselves. Shall I zoom in? Can I zoom in with this? That's the draugr captain. And another draugr captain with his bowels hanging out, which is always good. Yes, and some draugr at the back. The zombies, I believe, are mantic zombies, which I've added a few shields and axes to make them look particularly Viking.
Or Saxonish.
Or Saxonish. I did the same with my World War II zombies as well, and my Judge Dredd zombies. Just basically you take normal zombie and stick something on him to make him look a little bit topical.
Yep.
Nextly we have these guys, who are actually spare figures left over from my Dark Age project. So there's a couple of Saxon warriors in there, some Dark Age warriors, and some Vikings. And I've just painted them different shades of grey, because they're ghosts, they're spirits, so they're basically grey spirits, ghosts. In Norse mythology, when you die, if you die a good, valiant death in battle, or whatever, then you get to have a roistering afterlife in Valhalla, where you go and drink endless amounts of alcohol and party. And then go to sleep and then wake up again and party again. There's constant party time. However, if you're marching into battle, trip and break your neck on a stone, then you don't get to go to Valhalla because you're an idiot.
That's just a mistake.
Yeah, well, yeah. Read Lord of the Rings. Battle of Moria. When Dane tried to get into Moria, Dane tripped and his skull broke. His neck broke. Which was actually a retelling of one of the sagas where the Viking king did the same.
Vladimir never be going to Valhalla.
Vladimir. You mean Vlad the Impaler?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, falling off your horse was a common form of death in the old days. It's quite common to die falling off your horse. So no, he wouldn't have got to heaven. Although I'm not sure if he would have got to heaven anyway, given that he was a psychopathic mass murderer who murdered tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
He impaled them alive. Then again, I mean, it would have been alright if it had just been impaling people he was at war with.
Not everyone.
No, well, if he was just impaling the people invading his country, then that's fine, because you're impaling people
but he took
invading
it
your
too
country.
far.
Yeah, he impaled everybody.
Yeah.
He was an equal opportunity impaler. He didn't just impale Janissaries who were invading his country, he also impaled his own countrymen who kind of disagreed with the fact he was a nutter. And the odd German and Russians and Polish and who he didn't like. Anyone really that he didn't like. Including all the other rich people who lived in his country because he wanted to be in charge. But hey, Vlad was awesome. If you watch the film with Vlad in it, it's like totally awesome film. Based entirely on fiction.
Yeah.
But Vlad was a real person and he was a nutter. Which is incidentally where the original stories of werewolves come from. Vlad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Vlad's troops used to... because they didn't have many troops when the Islamic armies invaded his country. He didn't have many troops. And so he would hide out in the woods. And when the Muslim troops would go to sleep at night, they would come out of the woods, hack people to death, dressed as wolves, and then go back into the woods again. And so they never got any sleep. You couldn't sleep, and so they had to drink massive amounts of coffee.
Yeah.
So basically, after 2 weeks of marching at night, marching in the daytime and not being able to sleep at night, the Muslim army was totally stoned out of the tree on coffee, and their eyes were open with matchsticks, and I'm surprised they could see straight, to be honest, and no wonder they lost the campaign.
Hey, back to draugr.
Yes, back to draugr. But it all comes into the same thing.
Yeah.
So this is the basic draugr army I've got so far. It's not much, it's only what I've got painted so far. I should actually point out this rather lovely dragon. Now, the dragon is I think it's a 50mm scale dragon, or it may be
It's incredibly old.
Yeah, it is extremely old. I picked this up when I was about, 15, possibly. So it is a really, really old dragon, and I don't have a clue who I got it from. I think I might have picked it up from a trade stand at Triples years ago. And this is the guy. And have had him in a box all that time with nothing ever to really do for it. I didn't really do fantasy. So I had this dragon knocking around and I didn't really know what to do with him. And so now...
Until this day.
Yes, and I've decided to actually use him in this game because I thought, hey, draugr, why not? So I now have a shiny, shiny dragon for our games. So the basic idea of this is to have a spin-off fantasy game for our Vikings and Saxons, for our Dark Age figures. And have zombies in it and other stuff. Draugr. Or Revenant, if you're a Saxon, a Revenant.
Just choose.
Yeah, just whatever you want.
I was going to say zombies.
Yeah, so we're going to see what we could do with it. We've come up with a few interesting little ideas that we could play. And yeah, it's one of the ideas that we've got. And it's deciding what the stats are going to be. Been going through the rule book to try and find what army would suit these guys best. And not really decided on anything yet, but hey, early days.
Yep.
Yeah, so you should be seeing a battle with these guys pretty soon, and I'll just put them up against the
I think the first battle you'll be
Vikings.
seeing of this being done is Saxons and Vikings, which should be coming on very soon.
Yes, we're going to have a play test with our Saxons and Vikings and see how well they play. You're going to be playing Saxons, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm going to be playing Vikings, so that should be quite a fun little game. And this will give us another little game to play on the side, just as a bit of fun.
Yep.
Also, the great thing about this is I can always reuse the zombies. They're all basically grey and white, dry brushed, so they can pretty much fit in with any period. So I can basically use the figures.
For bolt action zombies.
Yeah, they can fit in for bolt action zombies or just dread or anything really. So yeah. They're pretty universal figures. Although there are a few that do have Viking helmets and shields and stuff. But
I have to ignore the fact of that.
Well, yeah, but how long have they been dead?
Oh yeah.
They could have been buried in the cursed earth for 1,000 years before they get dug up and march on Mega City War. No reason why not. No reason why not.
Or the US Army on the beachhead.
Oh, the beachhead, yeah. The beachhead was a complete disaster, actually. That didn't work out well at all. Yes, so, oops, bang the camera there, do apologise. That's
I
it.
think everybody's done that once in every single video. So.
Yeah, so that is the end of our little presentation into the draugr army. You will be seeing more of it in future as we get it going, and we're trying to come up with some good ideas. We might do a little campaign based on one of the more interesting sagas, which should be good. Could do something like Beowulf, which would be interesting. Interesting little game to do, although they'll be early Vikings, as opposed to Vikings we've got here.
You can still count.
Well, you still count because nobody knows the difference anyway.
No,
so,
Viking.
Yeah, Vikings.
I mean, according to everybody else, a Viking is someone who points at horns coming out of his helmet.
And you can still buy figures where the horns come out of the Viking's helmet, which.
Why do people? It was cartoons when I first did it, weren't they?
No, it was the Victorians. They did an opera in the Victorian period about Vikings, and so they stuck horns in the helmet to make so you could tell who was the head character.
Oh yeah, who's who?
Yeah, because Vikings pretty much look the same. They're all in armour.
Changing everything.
Yeah, so
to what this date is like now.
They gave the head commander horns on his helmet, and since then it caught on as a trope, and now Vikings apparently have horns on their helmet, even though
we've never dug up Viking with horns coming out of helmet.
Yeah, no. So no, it didn't happen. Just absolutely silly. But that's just life. I mean, all Romans apparently wore red.
Yeah, because of one legion.
Because of Technicolor. When Technicolor is invented, they made a film with Romans in it. I'm not going to mention the film because I actually quite like the film. But they made the film with Romans in it, and they said, we need them to look really good. Let's have everything in red because it looks awesome. And since then, it does look good. But now everyone thinks that Romans were all in red, and they weren't. They were multicoloured. Any colour you like. Actually, the colours were sourced locally, so it's whatever the cheapest colour was, generally. Apart from the Praetorians who wore purple because that was the most expensive colour and they wanted to show off and say, look, I'm really rich, I can afford an expensive cloak.
I think this is all everything about the draugr.
Yes, and here are the draugr, the restless dead of the north, who will be coming out of their barrow very shortly and will be hacking Vikings to death and biting them and stuff. Hey, we could do a sort of dungeon thing where we have a barrow underground.
Don't tell them.
I've only just had the idea.
Every single time you get an idea, you shout it out loud so everybody hears it and like, what do you think of it?
Yeah, but if I try and keep an idea in my head, my brain melts. So that just doesn't work. So there we go. That ends this video. I hope you've enjoyed the draugr introduction. I'm just showing you the silly sort of things I do at the back end of Christmas when I'm bored.
This was after Christmas when you started doing this.
Yeah, that's true. So
after
basically,
you got a first box.
No, I'm nowhere near the camera, and the camera says that I'm moving it. I'm nowhere near the camera. What is it? Is it an earthquake or something? Someone put a washing machine on somewhere and it's vibrating the house. I don't know. Answers on the back of a self-addressed envelope. Please send them in, and the prize will be a inflatable beach ball. So. For the correct answer, of course.
We don't live it anywhere near shore, so where are we going to get that from?
Yeah, but it will be self-addressed, so...
No. Right, so if you enjoyed this video, leave a like.
Yep.
Or wherever you want.
And if you want to see the draugr in battle against our Vikings or our Saxons, let us know. Or anyone else, actually. I wonder how they do against Romans.
And subscribe for more of this lovely stuff.
Yep.
And comments down below for any Q&A questions or happy questions. Nice questions. We don't like bad questions. It makes me very sad.
What, when you don't get nice questions?
No.
Oh, well, just leave any questions you want, subscribe, click like, and leave any comments in the comments bar.
I've already said all this.
And, yeah, I know, but you were waffling a lot. And if you like the figures, let us know, because this has been an interesting little side project, which we weren't supposed to be doing, but we've done anyway, because we had loads of zombies spare in a box, and They're either going to sit there in a box and not do anything, or we're going to use them for something. So
Yay.
here we are. So thank you very much for watching the video, and please click subscribe, like, and all them other things. And I hope you have a really spiffing day. Good day.